How can a single tooth, just one tooth from a skeleton that's been hidden away for who knows how long, completely crack a case wide open? Well, today we're going to get into the amazing chemistry that lets scientists pinpoint a victim's age at death and how it can turn a totally cold case into a brand new lead.
Picture this. A forensic chemist is at their desk, and their supervisor walks in, drops a new case file, and says something just like that. This whole story kicks off in a pretty quiet town, just outside Albany, New York.
So, you've got this young couple. They're excited, they just bought their first house. The guy who owned it before was elderly, he passed away, and his family sold the place pretty quickly.
And you know how it is with a new house. You're cleaning everything out, they're up in the attic, and they find this little closet tucked away that they hadn't even noticed during the walkthrough.
Inside, they see, well, at first they think it's just some old Halloween decoration left behind. But then they look a little closer, and oh, the chilling truth hits them. It is absolutely real. It's a perfectly preserved human skeleton.
So the police get right on it. They figure out the skeleton was a woman's, and they even get a full DNA profile. But when they run it through all the national databases, crickets. Nothing. Not a single match. To have any shot at figuring out who she is, they desperately need to know how old she was when she died. Without that, searching missing persons reports is like trying to find a needle in a continent-sized haystack. And this is where the whole investigation pivots. It moves from a dusty attic right into a high-tech forensic lab. Because the answer they're looking for isn't in the bones exactly. It's locked away deep inside the victim's teeth, right down at the molecular level.
Okay, so here's the secret. Our bodies have this kind of built-in chemical clock. And this clock runs on the tiny building blocks of our proteins, which are called amino acids. We're going to focus on one in particular, aspartic acid.
The easiest way to wrap your head around this is to just look at your own hands. They're mirror images of each other, right? A left and a right. Well, amino acids are the same. When we're alive, our bodies are super specific. They almost exclusively use the left-handed form, or the L form, to build all our proteins. The right-handed D form, it's pretty much nowhere to be found.
But here's the catch. Over time, this really cool natural process called racemization starts to happen. Very slowly, but also very, very predictably. Those left-handed L forms begin to flip over and become their right-handed D form twins. And this happens at a super steady, measurable rate for your entire life.
And this is exactly why teeth are the perfect place to look. You see, the proteins in our tooth dentin, that's the hard stuff right under the enamel, they're formed when we're very young, and they never get replaced. So think of it like this. At birth, the clock starts with almost zero deforms. As you get older, more and more deforms build up. And then, at the moment of death, the clock just stops. Pow! That ratio of D to L forms is frozen in time, leaving a permanent chemical signature of how old you were.
So we know the clock is there, but how do scientists actually read the time? Well, that's where a really precise process takes us right inside the lab.
Okay, so first, they take a tiny sample from the tooth dentin. Then they treat it with acid, which basically dissolves the proteins into this liquid soup of amino acids. This soup then gets injected into a specialized machine that separates out the L and D forms and measures the exact amount of each one. And what comes out at the end is one single, incredibly important number, the D to L ratio.
Getting that ratio is one thing, but what does it actually mean? I mean, it's just a number. This is the part where the real detective work begins, turning that raw data into a human age.
Well, you can't just look at that number in a vacuum. To make any sense of our victim's D to L ratio, scientists first have to build a kind of ruler. They do this by analyzing teeth from people whose ages were known when they died. This creates a baseline, a reference chart that they can measure our unknown sample against.
And when scientists plot out that baseline data, a really clear pattern just jumps right out. For example, a 20-year-old, they'll have a low ratio, somewhere around 0.070. By the time someone's 45, that ratio climbs to about 0.091. And an older person, say 75, is up around 0.116. The connection is undeniable. The older you are when you die, the higher your D2L ratio is.
Which, of course, brings us right back to our skeleton from the attic. The chemist has done the analysis, the machine did its thing, so what is the crucial number for our victim?
There it is, 0.085. That one little number is the key that could unlock this whole investigation. It is the final reading from that chemical clock that stopped ticking on the day she died.
And now for the moment of truth. We take our victim's number, 0.085, and we compare it to that baseline data, our chemical ruler that we've already established.
And we've got it. A D/L ratio of 0.085 matches up with an age of approximately 38 years old. Just like that, Jane Doe isn't just a skeleton in a closet anymore. She's a woman who was in her late 30s.
And you have to understand, this is so much more than just a number on a lab report. For investigators who had absolutely nothing to go on, this is the first real solid lead they've had in the entire case.
I mean, just think about what this means for the investigation. They can stop looking through every missing persons report ever filed and start focusing, really specifically, on women who went missing around the age of 38. This literally eliminates thousands of dead ends. It gives a voice back to a victim who had none, and it finally points the investigation in a clear direction.
It's just a powerful reminder that even after decades, the truth can be preserved in the most unexpected places. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other silent stories are written into our very chemistry, just waiting for the right scientific key to come along and unlock them?